If only we had proper Jewish leadership, which brings us to a situation in history that is, I guess, it rhymes with that which is unfolding in front of us today. Uh, the history books talk about Hyrcanus and Aristobulus. They were the sons of King Yanai. Yanai, Hasmonean ruler, husband of Shalom Sion. And they fought over who gets to be king. And the Romans intervened. So I think it was Pompey who was in charge. He basically took sides in this, and what was the end of it? I forget which one, the exact names, which brother got to rule and which one didn't. But the Romans chose the one who would become the best client king. Okay? That was basically what they wanted, someone who they could control. They picked the weaker one. And as you know, the introduction of the Roman occupation of the land of Israel was the beginning of the end. Eventually, this brought about the end of the Jewish monarchy, something which Rambam says was worth celebrating. It's one of the, I guess, one of the major benefits of the Hasmonean revolt, and one of the reasons why we have the whole new holiday of Hanukkah. By saying new, I mean it's relatively new compared to the old biblical holidays. Yet it was terrible for us, and the Herodians took over eventually. I think uh, the last one they say was Antigonus. He had a 3-year reign, or less than 3-year reign, and he was given over to the Romans, to Herod. Herod was the one who had him executed, and then Herod took over, and that was the end. So too, right now we're in a situation where the Roman regime, the current heirs to Rome, that'd be the Americans. We've explained that they're in some ways they're like Assyria in their relation to us, and in some ways they're like Rome. And in many ways, the sages would say, the sages who identified Rome with the Edom of their days, so too they would be the extension. They're the current hegemony. Hegemon, by the way, is a word we got from the Romans, meaning, the local warlords, the people who have the power, not necessarily legitimately, but they're the ones who bully everybody around. So the Romans basically chose the easiest way they could create a regime change in Judea. That would be the best for them and their agenda here in the land of Israel. So too, right now, for those who are astute, I'm not a fan of the current prime minister. I never really was. However, it's interesting that he has a lot of powerful and really determined enemies. And right now, you could see that the Roman American regime is trying to bring about a regime change here in the land of Israel. They've basically come out and said they do not like the guy in charge, and they're trying to put in their puppet. And putting in their puppet would just be another stage in their intended destruction of uh, the state of Israel, which of course, I do not want to see the destruction of the state of Israel. I think that it's a very good thing to be very patriotic for the state of Israel. Don't be a statist. You can be entirely against what the state does, what the government does, and it can be moderated, but it's very good to have a sense of patriotism and nationalism and to fly your flag. I think that Israeli flag is beautiful and is a very unifying symbol, something I fly outside my house, but also something which I believe has been hijacked. It's been co-opted by nefarious forces and needs to be returned to its rightful place. So too, I'm very concerned with what's going on because we've seen this in history before and it didn't work out well for us. So we pray that the war be ended soon with the destruction of the wicked, both within our country, just beyond our country, just beyond our borders, and around the world. God, do what you will with them, please, speedily in our days.